Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
A very good evening and welcome to the Newsfirst newsroom here in Colombo. This is Weekend Primetime News Headlines. Tonight, our top story is actually from Sports Division. England, Australia and India are granted greater control of cricket through an ICC proposal. On the local arena, extensive investigations launched into a nomination paper bearing false information submitted by the Nava Samaja party. Also making headlines, Karu Jayasuriya notified that the UNP can never be resurrected as a party if it does not emerge victorious within 2 years by the opposition leader of the Central Provincial Council. A new variety of rubber introduced with high productivity. Also in the headlines, police to retaliate if election proceedings are hindered. Those are your headlines for tonight. Arundhati Mulatnayaka is standing by at the Newsfirst studios for the very latest.
Well, thank you very much, Ramesh. And now for the stories in detail. The controversial ICC draft proposal on the restructure of the administration and financial management of the global sports body was passed today. The proposal was passed in a vote held in Singapore. Now, Sri Lanka Cricket was one of the 2 nations which abstained from voting on the proposal.
8 of the 10 ICC full member nations voted in favour of the proposals. Sri Lanka and Pakistan abstained from casting their vote according to the International Cricket Council website. The proposal that was passed today included several key points such as protecting Test cricket, a new financial model for full members, enhanced support for the leading associate members. The accepted proposals also note that BCCI Chairman N. Srinivasan would be appointed as the chair of the ICC board from mid-2014. The package resolution includes setting up a 5-man executive council with seats reserved for India, England and Australia. 2 other members will be elected to the executive committee following a vote. The initial chair of the new executive committee will be Wally Edwards from Cricket Australia, while the chair of the Finance and Commercial Affairs Committee will continue to be Giles Clark from the ECB. These roles will be for an initial 2-year transitional period till 2016. Once this transitional period is completed, the chair of the ICC board will be elected from within the ICC board, with all full member directors entitled to stand for election. Sri Lanka, who abstained from voting on this proposal, earlier took a stance which opposed the draft proposal. An emergency meeting of the Sri Lanka Cricket Exco took place today, and the proposals forwarded during this meeting were taken up for consideration. Following the conclusion of this meeting, we inquired from the chairman of Sri Lanka Cricket as to why Sri Lanka remained silent when the proposals were put forward for a vote. Sri Lanka Cricket later released an official statement explaining their decision. The release notes that the scope of the resolutions proposed during the ICC meeting was substantially different. Sri Lanka Cricket required a fresh mandate from the executive committee and stakeholders. It adds that SLC will seek a new mandate from the executive committee and stakeholders before the next ICC board meeting scheduled for April.
මේකෙන් වෙන්නේ ලෝක ක්‍රිකට් විනාශ කිරීම. සමහරවිට අපිට පගාවක් දීලා
This will completely destroy world cricket. Sometimes they will bribe us and say that we will be given a tournament or 2, or they might extend some personal favours to the Sri Lankan administration. The main issue here is that all the decisions will be made by England, Australia and India. In the future, there will be no point for the SLC chairman to go for those meetings, because the Big Three will be making the final decision. After we received test status in 1981, we were having the same rights and privileges as the other members. The current administration destroyed it.
Around 20 houses have been damaged in a fire which erupted in the Naga Mullavatte area in Bellampitiya at around 5 this evening. The Colombo Fire Brigade said that the inferno has been contained. It added that 6 fire engines were deployed to douse the fire, which broke out at around 3:45 this afternoon. Police media spokesperson SSB Ajit Rohan has said that no one was injured as a result of the fire. Police has launched extensive investigations into the incident where the New Samaj party handed over a nomination list bearing false information for the Gampaha district. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohan has said that legal action will be taken against the persons who forwarded false information.
Secretary of the Navasama Samaja Party, Dr. Vikramabahu Karunaratne, handed over the party's nominations for the Gampaha district. The party secretary handed over the nominations just before the deadline for the nominations.
Our aim is to establish the leftist power or the power of the suppressed. For this, we have come up with a good list of persons.
District Returning Officer of the Gampaha district said since the nomination paper fulfilled the basic requirements of the Provincial Council Election Act, he accepted the nomination. He added that when nominations were being arranged according to the alphabetical order, he came across many false information. The District Returning Officer added that along with forged signatures, false birth certificates have also been forwarded with this nomination list. Accordingly, the District Returning Officer had taken measures to inform the Elections Commissioner and the IGP in this regard.
මේ දක්වා කරන ලද විමර්ශනය වලින් අපිට හෙළි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේ නම් සඳහන් කරපු එක් අපේ.
From the investigations carried out so far, it has been revealed that one of the candidates mentioned is not in the country at the moment. Then there are 4 other names and it has been revealed that those names are false names. When we checked with the mentioned addresses, such persons don't live at these locations. Accordingly, they have committed a crime under the Election Act. They can also be charged for compiling false documents. Legal action will be taken against the persons who forwarded this. The Gampaha police is carrying out further investigations.
නීති අනුකූලව කටයුතු කිරීමට නියමිතයි. මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් තවදුරටත් ගම්පහ පොලිසිය විමර්ශන.
In such a context, it is the responsibility of the party secretary who is signing these nomination papers to provide correct information to the election commissioner. If such information is wrong and the information that has given by the secretary are forged, he is liable under the penal code as well as election laws. So it seems to be they have done a serious and grave violation of election laws as well as penal code.
The police reiterates that they will retaliate within the confines of the law against any individual who hinders election duties of policemen. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohan explained further.
Police
officers don't enforce the law for their own personal benefit. They do so to ensure that a peaceful and just election is held. We are acting in accordance with the powers vested in us through Parliament and various ordinances. If anyone, be it a candidate or a certain group, attempts to attack us when implementing the law, then we will retaliate within the confines of the law. Not only that, we will initiate stern legal action against them. If they attempt to initiate violence against the police, it will be considered as an act against the rule of law. All candidates should be aware of this.
The manner in which UPFA Southern Provincial Councillor Ajit Prasanna obstructed the official duties of a policeman were recorded in this manner. According to the police, stern action will be taken in relation to this incident.
If anyone attacks a policeman in front of other policemen, then they have the right to arrest the assailant. According to the Penal Code and Criminal Procedure Code, he could have been arrested. People who see this will think that there is one law for members of the governing party and another for opposition members. So we call on the IGP not to provide any respite to such perpetrators.
The Democratic Party held their first public rally yesterday after handing in nominations. The rally was held in the Kiribagada area.
We will begin our campaign to change this political culture which is filled with hate and wrong examples from Kiribati. What we want to do is to create another golden era for the people of this country. We want to create a good atmosphere for the people to live in. We want to create a law-abiding and just country. The people have been burdened through numerous taxes. Each day the cost of commodities keeps increasing. They reduce the prices of dal and increase the prices of potatoes. They increase the price of a packet of milk by 152 rupees. They will increase the prices of other goods after the election. This is a journey of hoodwinking the people.
And up next is a look at the newspaper cartoon of the day. Welcome back. You're with Newsfirst. Central Province Opposition Leader Ranjit Aluihare says that if the UNP does not emerge victorious within these 2 years, the party could never be resurrected. In a letter to the chairman of the UNP Leadership Council, Khaluja Surya, Aluihare points out that protecting the thousands of party supporters should be their prime responsibility instead of protecting their own positions.
The letter by the opposition leader of the Central Provincial Council is aimed to provide some proposals on the selection of candidates for 2014 Western and Southern Provincial Council polls. Ranjit Aluihare points out that all electoral organisers in the Western and Southern provinces who are not members of Parliament should be offered candidacy to contest for the upcoming poll. He notes that anyone who refuses candidacy are no longer suited to hold positions within the party. The letter to the chairman of the Leadership Council also notes that candidacy should be offered to members of the working committee who are not electoral organisers. It adds that a decision should be taken to make it mandatory for all former cabinet ministers and district Balamandala leaders within the Western and Southern provinces to contest the upcoming poll. The Central Province opposition leader also added that activists who have distanced themselves from the party due to minor differences should be brought closer to the party. Instead of supporting individuals who leave the party opportunistically, Aluihare suggested that the UNP should unite the activists within the party who worked hard for the party and criticized it in order to protect it. He also notes that 90% of UNPers who are disillusioned by the party and who break away from it due to disappointment go on to join Sarath Fonseca's Democratic Party. Aluihare reiterates that even staunch SLF peers who worked hard for the government now resent it and are disappointed, adding that they too beware the opposition. The letter concludes by noting that in such a backdrop, when the popularity of the government is waning, the UNP should not allow this opportunity slip through its fingers.
At an event held in Colombo earlier today, Minister Vimal Veeravansa said that the death penalty should be enforced against death row convicts who have received their sentences due to crimes related to drugs.
The event was held to vest the Colombo Slave Island Vithanamavata housing scheme to the public.
They said that the amount of drugs in the country has risen. So we proposed to the President, implemented the death sentence against convicts on death row who have committed crimes relating to drugs. These things happen because the penalties mentioned in law books are not being enforced. If the death penalty is not effective, then erase it from the books of law as well. Even if the sentences for the other crimes are not implemented, it is absolutely essential that the death penalty should be implemented for drug smugglers.